Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 82 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast for all things vegan. Episodes post every Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? Do you love the podcast? Would you get a kick out of hearing a shout out on a future episode? How about time to connect virtually with me and other listeners, quarterly or monthly? Check out the show notes for the link. If you're a vegan business who would like to sponsor episodes of Did You Bring the Hummus, I'd love to chat. Find my contact details in the show notes. I've been asked a few times now to offer guidance on public speaking, specifically for those who are terrified, but know that facing this fear is what will take them to the next level in their business, in their job, or in life in general. I'm now offering one-on-one support through both individual sessions and packages to help you get started in improving your public speaking skills. Check out the Public Speaking 101 tab on my website to learn more and schedule a free call to find out if I'm a good fit to help you navigate this journey. Today, I am joined by Kathy Davis of VegInspired. Kathy is a plant-based lifestyle and mindset coach, a meal planning expert, the CEO of VegInspired, and author of 3 cookbooks, as well as a co-author of 1 personal development book. Kathy is on a mission to educate, inspire, and empower others about the power of plant-based eating. She operates on 2 primary mottos. 1, eat more plants, and 2, intention over perfection. Kathy has been eating and creating vegan meals for more than 9 years. Over the past 4 years, she shifted her daily habits to follow a whole-food plant-based lifestyle. She experienced amazing results, renewed energy, 50-pound weight loss and maintenance, a newfound sense of joy, and a healthier mind and body. One tool that she used consistently to make plant-based eating a sustainable way of living was meal planning. She founded the Meal Plan Accountability Club to help others become efficient and effective meal planners. Kathy is dedicated to providing women and men with resources to eat more plants. She is eager to guide others on their journey so that they can make a more significant impact in the world. Fun fact, Kathy and her husband John are living their plant-based dream while simultaneously traveling the United States in an RV with their cats. They've been to 33 states and 24 national parks so far and have a goal to visit all of the U.S. national parks. In our chat, we cover Kathy's vegan journey, RV living, meal planning, her coaching programs, diet culture, human design, and more. Oh, and of course, hummus too. Hey, Kathy, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited about this conversation. Let's get right into it. Share with me your vegan journey.
Absolutely. So about 10 years ago, my husband came to me and said, I think we should try this plant-based thing. I've been reading a couple magazine articles and they don't really line up. And I think plant-based might be the way to go. And I told him no. That's how my vegan journey started. I was like, nope, no, I'm not vegan. I don't want to be vegan. Like I didn't know. I had all these preconceived notions of what that meant and I didn't know. And so he kind of showed some articles, and this was right after Thanksgiving 2013. So we're, more than 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, what if we just try it? What if we just eat more plants? And so that's actually one of my mottos. And one of the things that I teach people is, what if you just ate more plants? What if you just look at ways that you can eat more plants? And so over about 7 or 8 months, I ate more plants and I let myself go into some of the research, some of the documentaries, some of the YouTube videos that I wished I'd ever saw. Once you kind of know about animal ag and the cruelty and the things that happen there, you can't unsee that.
Yeah.
And every step of the way, it was, we'd try a recipe and I liked it. And so then that was one green light. And then we'd try another one and I liked it. And we'd try a vegan product and I liked that. And so slowly over about 6 to 8 months, we predominantly went plant-based. Okay. But I have a pivot moment. And I always like to share this because I think it's so important. So I was pretty much digging my heels in when he first introduced it to me. By June of 2014, I was accepting that we were mostly plant-based. I would not have said I was vegan, but I would have been mostly plant-based.
Mm-hmm.
But then I stood in a field with some cows and their babies. And it was like everything flashed before my eyes. All of the documentaries on health, all of the documentaries on animal ag, everything. And I call it my pivot moment. In that moment,
Yeah.
I became vegan.
Yeah. That's powerful stuff.
And I've been vegan ever since June of 2014.
That is amazing. It's too bad we can't get everybody into a field with cows and their babies, right?
Right? Life changing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. And so you've taken this and you don't just live this way. Now you help other people live this way and learn about it. Tell me about the work that you're doing.
Absolutely. About 6 months after I had that pivot moment in the field, I felt like I wanted to share. I'm an educator by trade. I have a master's in education. I taught elementary school when we lived in North Carolina before we moved to Pennsylvania. And I wanted to educate people. And so I started VegInspired as a platform, a blog in the beginning, and then social media and YouTube kind of took off. But it was really the whole purpose, my whole mission was to educate, inspire, and empower others to eat more plants, just to try it. Maybe you're switching to almond milk or soy milk. Maybe you are, using veggie broth instead of animal broth. You're just taking those steps because every step we take can move us closer.
Yeah.
That was almost over 9 years ago that we started VegInspired. And as I said, it snowballed into much bigger work. I now work one-on-one and in group programs with clients. I've authored 3 cookbooks. The message is spreading. This eat more plants message that I really want to spread is spreading, and I love it.
Yeah. That's great. That's one of the things that when people ask me too, like, what's like one thing that I can do? And I'm like, just pick one thing. Are you running out of cow's milk? Are you running out of shampoo? Like next time you go to the store, don't buy what you always buy. Look for the plant milk. Look for a shampoo that's not tested on animals, doesn't have animal products. And you make these changes because change, no matter what it is, and no matter how motivated we are, is hard, right? And so if you're trying to make this big shift in your life and change so many things at once, it can feel overwhelming. But when we break it down, it's easier to see,
Yeah.
oh, I can do this.
I love that. I love that perspective. And even bringing in, I think a lot of times people will say to me, well, you're vegan. Does that mean you dumped all the animal products out of your closet? And I was like, no. Upon returning from the field, I did not go through my closet and clean out everything that was not vegan. I just stopped buying that. I just stopped supporting those industries. And yes, over time, putting on shoes that were made with leather didn't feel aligned anymore. And so when I replaced them with shoes that do feel aligned to me. And so it really is this one step at a time. And when I'm working with clients, most of the clients I work with are looking to eat plant-based for their health. So they're looking for more of a whole food, more of a clean eating approach to veganism or plant-based eating. And my first recommendation is to audit what you already eat. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I could go plant-based. If she can do it and she was digging her heels in and not wanting to do it 10 years ago, and now look at her, I could probably switch up some of my food and make more plant-forward decisions. Look at what you're already eating. You're already eating probably a lot of things that are plant-based or whole food or vegan. We just don't realize it because when we hear those words, it like prickles us. We get a little defensive. Like, don't take away my cheese. But I already eat apples. I already eat potatoes. I already eat taco shells. I mean, there's lots of things that are already vegan that people are already eating.
Yeah. That's so powerful and so true. It cracks me up when people are like, I don't eat vegan food. And I'm like, yeah, didn't you just have French fries yesterday? I mean,
They're vegan. How do you
Yeah.
feel about Oreos? Because they're vegan too. Did you know that? I have people are always
Yeah.
like, they're vegan. What? I love Oreos. I'm like, see, you already eat vegan food. That's a check
Hmm.
on the box. See, you're already winning.
Yeah. It's so many people think that it's like this thing that's outside of them, that they don't understand it. It can't possibly be something that they're already familiar with. And it's like, yeah, apples are vegan. So if you eat an apple when you're a meat eater, it's still a vegan apple.
Still a vegan apple.
Yep.
Cool.
So you have written cookbooks. You mentioned that. Tell me about your cookbooks.
I have. I have 3 plant-based cookbooks on the market. I have the 30-minute Whole-Food Plant-Based Cookbook, and that one is it's my baby. It was the first one that I wrote, and to me, it's the one that gives you those entry-level whole food vegan recipes.
Hmm.
It's we have the black bean burgers that actually stick together. We have a good array of soups, ranging from your chickpea brothy kind of soups to a chili to more of a stew, all using whole foods. And then I have the Super Easy Plant-Based Cookbook, which is the second cookbook that I wrote, and that one has 4 cooking categories. Well, one is a no cook recipes. So it's divided into different chapters where you have no cook recipes, 5 ingredient recipes, more 30-minute recipes, and then 1 pot recipes. And I have some favorites out of that one. And I'll tell you that even living in an RV, my favorites are the sheet pan meals
Mm.
because you can dump everything on a sheet pan and throw
Yep.
it in the oven and come back 30 to 40 minutes later and it's done and ready and you just eat it up, right?
Yep.
Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite meals. So that's what I would recommend from that book. The chickpea El Pastor is so good. Chickpea, pineapples, onions.
Ooh.
And then the budget friendly cookbook is the third book. And that one takes that myth of plant-based eating is too expensive and starts to bust it by giving you not only budget friendly recipes, but those ingredients that you can keep on hand that might break the bank, right? When we buy, large quantities of certain foods, it feels like they're a little more spendy. And so we have tips in there on how to make it more budget friendly, where you can trade your time for your money. So if you're short on time, you might spend a little bit more on prepped vegetables, but if you have a lot of time, you might make your own beans. You might prep peel your own carrots and cut your own broccoli and then using all the different pieces, the stems of the broccoli and things like that to really leverage what you've spent.
Hmm. That's good stuff. That sounds like quite a trio of books that we all need to have in our kitchen.
Absolutely. And they're all available on Amazon or you can go to my website, veginspired.com, and just click the books tab and it'll take you down to link them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I only recently discovered sheet pan meals and it blew me away. And I made like it was like tofu and peppers and some beans and then I put it into taco shells after it was done. But yeah, it was so easy and it was so good and so filling. And then I did nachos the same way and just
Mind blowing.
yeah.
It is. I think it's because when I'm scrolling through Pinterest and I see sheet pan meals, they're never vegan.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I just assumed I couldn't make them. But then when I started testing them, I realized I could get the beans and the protein or the tofu and the veggies and different things. And then even in my taco and my fajita recipes, I actually take the tortillas and wrap them in parchment or foil, something that's oven safe. And I
Mhm.
put those right on the sheet pan about 5 minutes before everything's done.
Ooh.
And then that heats up the tortilla. So then you really aren't dirtying the pan to warm the tortilla. In our case, our microwave is our conduction oven. So we don't have 2 ovens to be
Mhm.
microwaving something and heating something up. So it just works perfectly.
Yeah. Is it hard being vegan living in an RV?
I love this question. So we'll back up a little bit. We sold our house and moved into our RV a little over 5 years ago. So we've been on the road for 5 years.
Mhm.
When we left, I would have called myself a junk food vegan. And if you go back and watch my YouTube videos, you're seeing the same thing. Lots of restaurants out, lots of processed foods. we started as plant-based eaters, so we would sprinkle in our daily dozen bootables and different things like that. But for the most part, we ate pretty pretty much a lot of processed foods and a lot of dining out, a lot.
Mm.
Every time we moved, we would go out to dinner. I mean, we were always eating out at restaurants. About a year into that, I recognized that I had all the symptoms of pre-type 2 diabetes. And so I really wanted to take control of that using my lifestyle choices. And so we went whole food plant-based about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And the reason I share this story is because when we first left, we had every Whole Foods, every natural market marked on the map because we had to make sure we could get our processed vegan foods
Ah,
at these specialty stores before we ended up in rural areas where we were RVing and camping in the national parks and things like that. But once we went whole food plant-based, we actually realized that most grocery stores have everything we need. They
mm,
have the potatoes, the rice, the beans, the
yeah,
veggies, the frozen fruits, some of them even have tahini and nutritional yeast.
yeah,
I mean, there's so much more available now that in the beginning I thought it would be hard. Where am I going to get my specialty products, my favorite vegan burgers and all of that? But what I realized is the stores that I have access to have all the plant foods I need. And so if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I can't go vegan because I don't live near a Trader Joe's, take a step back and say, wait, vegan food doesn't have to be a processed food that says vegan.
right.
Potatoes, rice, quinoa, black beans, tofu, veggies, all of that are all vegan too. So what I actually like about living in the RV is it gives us variety. We go to different restaurants now. We're not anti-restaurant. We're not
Mhm.
anti-vegan food products. We're just very intentional and conscious about the amount that we consume those.
Yeah.
And I did reverse my type 2 diabetes and lost about 50 pounds. So the results were there and I want to keep that up. I want to maintain this level of health and wellness. And so for me, it's a very intentional choice. So I stock up on my favorite tahinis. I make sure we have our favorite nutritional yeast. But for the most part, we can shop anywhere,
Mm.
making it not really as hard as I thought it would be with a full-time travel life.
Yeah. What about the kitchen, being in a small kitchen? How do you manage that with all those vegetables?
So, these are such great questions. So we actually bought our RV because of the kitchen.
Ah.
The model we have is actually the GK, which stands for Grand Kitchen. And so it has a little bit longer island, a double door refrigerator, still an RV fridge, but
Mhm.
it has a little bit more room, nice big pantry. And so because of that, we knew we would be cooking a lot. We did choose this RV specifically for the kitchen.
Mm.
I'd honestly say that the hardest part was letting go of some of our favorite appliances. So we have our Vitamix, we have our food processor, but we didn't keep our stand mixer. We didn't keep, our big slow cooker that could make chili for everybody. So that was hard. And then the other part was parting with a lot of cookbooks
Oh,
because we've always really enjoyed cooking and we had this huge shelf that had all of our cookbooks. When we moved into the RV, that just wasn't feasible. And so we donated and sold a lot of our cookbooks. And so those are probably the hardest parts of RV life as a plant-based or vegan eater is just the space for the different gadgets and the cookbooks. And then the other part is I don't have a dishwasher. So I'm the dishwasher. I'm good old hands over here
yeah.
washing dishes.
That's so great because, I think when we think about eating lots of vegetables and preparing them, people might think, well, I live in New York City in a, 300 square foot apartment. My kitchen is the size of a postage stamp. How could I possibly create meals that I'm going to be pleased with in this tiny space? And or, just my kitchen, just the countertops are small, whatever the reason is. Like, so if you're successfully doing this in an RV, we can do this anywhere. It really is so manageable.
Absolutely. And my biggest recommendation for people is to take an evaluation of your life situation. If your kitchen is so small that you don't have room for a big cutting board and you can't prep all your own veggies, can you buy them already prepped,
Mm,
frozen, fresh and already prepped? I mean, there's ways around it, and I always encourage people, like, I get a lot of living in an RV, we hear a lot of people say, I could never do that. I can't live in an RV. I have, and they just go on with all these reasons. And
mm,
I always pose the question, what are reasons you can? Like,
mm.
in those small apartments, how can you do it? Well, maybe you do have a small refrigerator, so you're shopping more frequently, but that means you're getting the freshest vegetables every couple of days.
Yeah.
It it's it a lot it forces you to be creative, and it helps you look at how you can do it. And so that's a takeaway you might have if you're listening to this and thinking, "Gosh, I don't know if I could do it that way." How why could you? Maybe you are creative. Maybe you are a MacGyver, and you can MacGyver yourself a little countertop in a small kitchen, or you can maneuver a little table, or use a food processor to chop things up for you, or get a little
Yeah.
chopper that takes up little space. Just
Hmm.
thinking of ways you can do
Right.
it.
Yeah. That's such a good question. Like, how can you? And I think it even comes back to when people are like, I could never go vegan. Just to say, like, well, how could you? And it might just kind of flip that. And then they realize all the ways that they can and reasons why they might. That's
Exactly.
nice. Yeah, good stuff. So you live with cats too in this RV. How many cats are with you?
I do. We have 2 cats now. We have an 11-year-old tuxedo named Eddie. He's an OG. He started the trip with us.
Ah.
And then we have a brand new 7-month-old fluffy-tailed kitten named Archie, and we just picked him up in Utah, hence his name is Archie, for the arch on their iconic license plate. We actually started with 3 cats. We had 2 more that were OG with Eddie, and we've since lost them on the road. So it was really fun to get Archie and give Eddie a little buddy. And so they ride in the truck with us. And we have a fifth wheel that we tow. They ride in the truck with us, and yeah, they love RV life. We're hoping that we can train Archie to be a backpack cat.
Oh.
So that's that's our fun adventure with him.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that is. We've got 4 cat. We live with 4 cats here, and I love the idea. And they all came from outside. They just showed up. They had been dumped or were kittens of irresponsible parents, and so we know that they love the idea of being outside, especially 2 of them, but we're not willing to let them be outside, and they also are a little too wild to be, like, in a harness walking or anything like that, but, just imagining Archie in your backpack, like, I that made me smile.
So you have to follow me on Instagram to make sure that you can see him when he ends up in a backpack, because it will
Yeah.
happen. I'm sure of it.
So tell me how you work with your clients and what that process looks like.
Absolutely. I have 2 group programs that I run consistently all year long. I have the Plant-Based Woman, which is a 6-month program, and it's a robust program. We meet twice a week as a group. It's hands-on. They have client-led access to me in communication support called Boxer. It's designed to take you from that stuck, confused, overwhelmed, I want to go whole food plant-based, or I want to go plant-based, or even if you're listening and you're vegetarian, you're like, I want to do this, but
Mm,
whatever follows that but, that's what we're going to dig into. I want to do this, but my family,
yeah.
because I work very focused on the mindset piece of this way of eating. I really dig into the patterns that we have around food, the thoughts we have around food. A lot of us were raised, my generation was raised in the Atkins diet and the South Beach diet and Weight Watchers and all these things. And so we come in with these really strong, rooted deep patterns on diet culture and the things we say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I have some clients that come to me that want to do the starch solution because they love the idea of being able to eat starches,
Yeah.
but they've been programmed and conditioned that those foods are bad for them. And
Mm-hmm.
so we work through that, rewriting those neural pathways to help them see that those are old patterns. That's what keeps pulling them back off the wagon is that fear. And maybe it's the fear of social situations. And so that's what we do is we really dig into that. And so in 6 months, we work through the new self-image, like digging into who you are as a plant-based woman and then moving forward. And then the last month is really built on resiliency and long-term habits. What are you
Mm.
going to do when I'm not in your pocket and you're not meeting with me every couple of, twice a week?
Yeah.
The other program I have is called the Meal Plan Accountability Club, and I teach that once a week. It's an ongoing membership. People can come in and out and, enroll monthly or 6 months or annually. And the whole purpose is to help people build a meal plan routine.
Mm.
So I have found that meal planning is the number one way to build confidence and relieve stress around food. It is what has helped me stick to this way of eating. It's what allows me to have a very flexible, intention over perfection, whole food way of eating because I can look at my calendar, I can look at my meal plan, and I can say, oh, we're going out to eat on Sunday night. What am I eating before? What am I eating after? My confidence is there. I know that I can eat that pizza on Sunday night and I can wake up on Monday morning and eat oatmeal and get right back to the way that I was eating and not feel like I'm going down a slippery slope. So the
Mm.
Meal Plan Accountability Club is really for anybody looking to stick with a more consistent way. The other thing I teach is I teach you to build your meal plan based on your calendar. So you're actually picking meals that you like that will fit into the day you have. So like
Ah.
we're recording this right on a Friday night
Mm-hmm.
at around dinner time. So
Yeah.
when I looked at my meal plan for the week, it was what can I prepare either before or after so that I'm not starving for the call, but also it's not busying and I'm not eating at 9 o'clock at night. Right. So it allows you to look at your schedule and say, oh, I'll have a 30-minute meal that night. And maybe the day before I can do my lasagna, which we know takes forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is so important because I know that anytime someone has tried to talk to me about meal plans, it's always just this is what you pick the stuff for the week and that's it. And no thought about, oh, I should actually think about what I'm doing. And the first time I heard of this, I don't know if you're familiar with Brigitte Gem. She's out in Vancouver. So that's her philosophy around meal planning too, is like, what do I have going on? How can I make my food work for me instead of me working for my food?
Hmm.
And the first time when I talked to her about that, it just blew my mind. And I was like, "Oh, right. I could say I have a podcast recording tonight, so maybe I need to have leftovers I can heat up right away." And so the night before, I make sure I'm making double recipe or whatever so that there's leftovers. And you're right because, I've had kind of a difficult relationship with food since I was a child. And there definitely have been times where I was like doing really well, eating, feeling good, like feeling healthy, and then went out to dinner. The next morning didn't have breakfast ready, didn't know what I was going to have, grabbed breakfast while I was on the way to work, and then lunch was takeout, then and before you know it, I've had like 3 solid days of not making food at all. And it's not good.
And that's really what I love about what you just said is one, haven't we all had difficult relationships with food? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if if it was a full diagnosis of a true food disorder or we just love Oreos, right?
Mhm.
Like I mean, we all have complicated relationships with food. And so awareness allows you to make conscious changes.
Mm.
And I always teach that you meal plan in relation to your goal. So if you were to say to me, my goal is to cook meals at home most of the time, and you put on your meal plan, dinner out, I'm going to have overnight oats, let's say, for the example that you gave,
Mm.
then you would want to make sure your overnight oats were ready so you're
Right.
not swinging through somewhere. But
Mhm.
what it allows you to do is it allows you to say, oh, dinner out Monday night. Oh gosh. And then I'm meeting a client on Tuesday at work, or I'm going out with friends on Tuesday. And then Tuesday night is our date night. And so now you can see right on your meal plan, I'm going to eat out 3 days in a row.
Mhm.
Is this what I want? Am I intentionally moving forward? Or do I want to see if I can shift something? Maybe we move date night to Friday so that I'm not eating back to back to back takeout,
Mm.
because my goal is to not eat back to back to back takeout,
Yeah.
right? It's not good or bad. It's not whether you eat takeout every day or not, is we're not that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what's your goal and like
Mhm.
how do you want to feel about it?
Yeah.
So that's one of the big reasons why I teach meal planning the way that I do, is because it gives you an awareness. It gives you like this bird's eye view of how am I sticking to my goals?
That's amazing. And I think that people who have access to you, how lucky they are. When you were talking about the kind of diets that we had growing up, it reminded me that I went on Slim Fast at the age of 12 for the first time. And I had already struggled with food, hiding food, sneaking food, feeling ashamed about what I was eating even when I wasn't sneaking food. And then Slim Fast was presented to me and I liked the way the name sounded and I thought it seemed like that would help. And that kicked off a whole thing. And I think that, well, we know that when we're caught up in that, it's so difficult to then find a healthy relationship with food until we can kind of pull ourselves out of it. And we didn't have people saying things like what you're saying, at least not I didn't have access to people saying things like that.
I
Yeah.
didn't either. I mean, I'm a former Weight Watcher, so I was like, save all your points and binge all the crap food at night. So I would
Mhm.
literally eat oatmeal in the morning. Eat. I worked at I was teaching at the time, and I worked at a school that had like a salad buffet, so I could
Mhm.
get a salad buffet, and they had steamed chicken or whatever, grilled chicken, so I could eat that. Right, I wasn't vegan at the time,
Mhm.
so I could eat all these zero and low point foods all day. And then I could go home and I could have my glass of wine or my margarita or a half a bag of cookies. And I had all
Mhm.
my points. And so I always teach my clients, like, your meal plan isn't so that you can assign yourself a cheat day. It's so that you
Yeah.
can literally look at your week and be like, wow, I'm eating aligned with my goals all week long. And it feels really good, and I
Mhm.
don't feel like I have to reward myself. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to have a cheat day. You could literally just be like, "You know what? I wanna go out with the girls on Saturday night, and so I'm gonna look at the menu and see what's available, and I might eat something that's vegan, that's not fully aligned with my whole food way of eating, but I don't care because I'm not it's not a habit I'm creating. Like, to
Mhm.
me, all that Weight Watchers taught me to do was to eat lean and clean all day long and then go home and binge a bunch of crap. Those were not the habits I wanted to create in
Right,
my
not
life,
at all.
but that's what happened. And
Yeah.
so, and I know that it's well-meaning, and if I had a healthy relationship with food, I probably wouldn't have been in that situation to begin with, but here's the thing, that perpetuated further problems for me. So it was just like, for me, it's really about how can we live? How can we live as healthy as possible, eating the foods that best align with our goals?
Mhm.
And I strongly believe that all of these rules that we place on people for, they're perfect plant-based and all this noise out there, all it does is it reverberates any old diet culture that's in their brain or their heart or
Mhm.
their body, and then they feel restricted, and then they binge, or they feel restricted and feel restricted and feel restricted, and then they just unleash, and then they have to get back on the wagon, and it just makes them feel so defeated. And that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to help people with is, you know, if you were like me, if you have all this old baggage that you're bringing to your plant-based way of eating, let's get it out. Let's rewrite that story. Let's rewrite your health and wellness story so that you can feel like you're thriving and doing well for the animals and doing well for the environment and doing well for your own health and eating amazing foods, right? Because I'm not a kale and tofu kind of person. Like it's got to be the chef's kiss kind of meals for me. And so I'm always like, we're not eating boring stuff over here either. Like we're going to make sure that your meals are amazing.
Yeah. So important. And it feels good to know that, that there are people out there doing what you're doing, and that it means that so many people who have been afraid of food don't have to be afraid of food anymore. And it's not just people who have, you know, severe eating disorders that land them in a hospital. People who you wouldn't even know were struggling with food are walking around with these strong fears of eating certain things. And it's so sad and it's hard. It's so hard and we don't need it. And it just comes from that diet culture.
It really does. And, Kimberly, you bring up a good point because even saying something to someone like, oh, it's just one day, like it's not just one day for some people. Like
Hmm.
it's it's not just one food, right? Like I had somebody tell me, so as I've said, we've been whole food plant-based for mostly whole food plant-based for the last 4.5 years. And I remember early on, I was at a party or whatever, and I had my veggies and my hummus and all that on my plate that I brought because it was oil free and my bean dip. And they're like, oh, you're just being so good.
Mm,
Nope, this is a choice. But
yeah.
that's them perpetuating their diet culture. So
Yep.
even very well-meaning comments that are meant to be like, you're doing such a great job sticking to your diet. It's really like, I'm not on a diet. This is just how I eat. Like I
Yeah.
just eat this. This is just what I eat.
Right. This is just a Tuesday for me. I don't know.
Right? Like veggies and hummus, like that's an everyday kind of thing over here. So
Yeah.
it's like this is what I eat. I remember when we very first did this, we were near my parents and I'm like, "Mom, all we need are baked potatoes and some veggies. Like that's what we eat." And she's like, "That seems so boring." I was like, "Well, we're going to bring other stuff to put on it, like salsa and avocado and things like that." I said, "But you don't feel like you have to make this extravagant thing because we literally eat baked potatoes and broccoli or a salad. It's not that complicated." And she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay."
So I want to pivot a little bit because you also are into this other super interesting thing that I am also into and have been learning about a little bit over the last couple of years, but you also do human design.
I do. I
Tell
was
us about
introduced
what
to
that is.
Absolutely. So I was introduced to human design, gosh, about 2 years ago, and in the beginning, I was super skeptical because I don't like personality tests. I believe that if you think something, right? If you think you are, then you are.
Mm,
You so if you think plant-based eating is hard, it's going to be hard. If you say you always miss your cab, you're always going to miss your cab, right?
mm,
Like I truly believe that thoughts are things and that what we think about, we bring about. So to me, labeling someone and saying you're this or you're that feels like a box. And so
mm,
I was skeptical. I didn't want a label. I didn't want to be labeled. But then I got curious because
mhm.
people started to say things like it's fixed. It's self-awareness. It's your energy. And I believe that everything's energy. I fully believe that. And so when I got into human design and really started to dig around in there, I was like, oh, it's not a personality test. It's based on my birth date. It's
Mhm.
based on astrological planetary locations. Those are fixed, right? At that time, it's a
They
fixed date and
happened.
time. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not me picking answers because that's how you usually get those tests, right? It's like,
Right.
are you, do you get along well with people all the time? Never. And you're like, well, what's the most politically correct answer for me to pick?
Mhm.
What's the most, and so then you're like in your own head about it. And so for me, human design is fixed and I love it. And so about a year ago, I really dug in, jumped in, dove in, all just let go of the shore and just went all in. I had a bunch of readings. I learned all about myself. And then I read something from the founder. And he says, experiment with your strategy and authority. That when you do that, everything else falls into place. So I quieted the noise and I focused on my strategy and authority. So for those of you that are human design people and you're into human design, I am a 6-2 emotional generator, which means my strategy as a generator is to wait to respond. And my authority as an emotional is to ride my wave. So if you're listening and you're thinking, interesting, giving a perfect example. With your emotional authority, you don't make emotionally charged decisions. So for me, if somebody says to me, do you want to go on a trip to Hawaii? And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Immediately I'll know if it's a great idea because I have a defined sacral. So I'm either going to get a heck yes or a heck no. But if I'm at the top of my emotionally chart, like my emotional wave, which is very mechanical, very energy based, I might be like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. And then I might wake up the next morning and be like, it doesn't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
So for an emotional, which 50% of the population has an emotional authority. So 50% of the people in the world should be sleeping on their big decision. That's really what it means to kind of ride your wave, is to sleep on your big decision. So like maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're like, hey, I want to work with Kathy. So you message me and I give you the information. I would honestly, if 50% of the population, I would say it's a 50-50 chance that you need to sleep on your decision. And so it really comes down to like, how can I tap into this body authority, this energy within my body, instead of trying to intellectualize everything? Well, if I go to Hawaii, I could take this vacation day and this vacation day. Do you want to go to Hawaii or not? Because
Right.
if you want to go, you'll make it happen. So that's like a really interesting way that I could explain human design. But it's all about energy. It's how your energy interacts with the world, how you're designed to interact with the world. From that, you can learn your gifts, which are places in your chart, in your body graph chart that's derived from your birth date and your location of birth. That it's those gifts that you can share with the world where you really amplify these powerful parts of you. Most of us aren't operating from that. We're operating from who the world told us who to be. And so human design gives you like this glimpse into your self-awareness that allows you to kind of peel back different layers and find that true self of you.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a 2-4 generator.
Okay.
And the thing that really made me go, oh, wow, that's really neat, is when I was talking with the woman who had given me my chart. I have a defined sacral as well. And she was like, when you are faced with a decision, how do you respond to it? And I thought about that. And at first I didn't understand what she meant. And then she was like, how do you vocalize how you respond to it? And I was like, oh, because when I hear something that I'm interested in, or I know I want to do something, it's always like, or like, I make noise. I don't just like say something. There's like a sound that comes out of me. And it's the same way with something I don't want to do. I don't go, no, I go, ugh.
And right. And because I have a defined sacral as well. And so I make those noises too. I'm like, ooh, I'm like,
Yeah.
and like you can feel it. And
Yeah.
the thing about it is, as someone who was a school teacher, learned child development, all of that, we tell kids to use their voice. Like we tell them not to do that. And
Yeah.
70% of the population are generators or manifesting generators, which is a subtype of a generator. So we all 70% of these people that are generators have this divine sacral. And so we're all walking around like, like If you walk past a coffee shop and you like coffee and it smells good,
Yeah.
it's like an inner like, I want that. And then
Mhm.
if something doesn't smell good, you're like, and you kind of pull away, and so it's fascinating, but we don't listen to that inner body. And
Yeah.
that's really what I want to help people do is I want to help them understand their design so that they can listen to the inner parts of their body and not all this logic in their head.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, it's so easy to get stuck up in there because like you said, that's what we're taught from such a young age. And instead of feeling, we're trying to rationalize everything. But really, if we just tapped into that feeling, we could probably make decisions that are more aligned with what we really truly want and need out of our life than what we think
Absolutely.
we need.
Absolutely. The other big thing for a generator is our strategy, which is to wait to respond.
Mhm.
That means we're not initiators. And I don't know about you, but I was always taught to go after what I want. That's actually not my design. My design is to trust that what I want or the things that are right for me will present themselves for me to be able to say or feel, uh-huh, or uh-uh.
Mhm.
And so really just having that inner trust, I mean, that itself is work.
Yeah. Yep. And I had spent so much time because I've always told myself, so going back to something you said earlier, I've always told myself that I'm not a finisher, that I'm an initiator because I have all these ideas, but I don't have it in me to finish them. I don't care about the minutia. I can't get into the numbers or the tactical pieces. I want to have the big ideas and hand it off to someone else to finish it for me. And so I would walk around saying, I'm an initiator. I start things. I don't finish anything. And so I have finished very few things, but also the idea that I had to always be looking for the next thing instead of just kind of being open to it coming instead.
And look at that. As a generator, you literally are designed to finish things. Like
Yeah.
that is your design. And it's so beautiful because one of the biggest awarenesses that I've had with human design is that sacral life force energy. When I am responding to something that lights me up, I could do it for hours. I don't
Mhm.
need to eat. I
Yep.
don't need to talk to people. The cat better not bother me. Like my husband better just see to himself. Like I I love it.
Mhm.
I have the energy to do it and I could just go and go and go. There's no stopping me. But when I don't like something, it is torturous.
Oh, yeah.
And for the last year, I've been so aware of that I can feel it now in my body because
Mhm.
I know, oh, this wasn't for me. This was not the decision that I should have made.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish it because or I'm going to figure out a way to get out of it. But you can feel it and when you're so tuned in and aware to this energy, it's eye-opening. My husband is also an emotional generator. And so if you know, you know, if you've ever been around generators, because we wait to respond, open-ended questions are not the best for us in
Mhm.
making decisions.
Yeah.
So my husband and I actually have this like new conversation that we have where we'll both give each other yes and no questions, even though it seems like we've just answered it.
Mm.
So I will say, do you want tacos for dinner? And he'll say, yeah, uh-huh, or some verbal grunt.
Mhm.
And then he'll turn around and say, do you want tacos for dinner?
Yeah.
Because I can initiate the idea of tacos, but I may not actually want tacos. My brain might be like, we should have tacos, but maybe I don't want tacos. I
Yeah.
always want tacos though, so
I
that's a bad.
me too. I totally get that.
I'm a taco girl. Taco every day.
That's an interesting approach. I'm gonna try that because my husband is a manifesting generator.
So he also has does he have a defined he has a defined sacral, but does he have a is he a sacral authority or
Ooh, I don't know.
because
I don't
we're
know
both
as much about
emotional authorities, but dinner, you're not going to sleep on what you're having for dinner. So
No.
you have to answer that pretty quick. But that's it, right? And depending on how your head and your ajnas are defined, there's just so many little nuances with human design that you're like, oh yeah. And I actually did a reading for a family for their son, and the little boy's a manifesting generator as well. And I said, encourage him to use his sounds. When he makes a sound, accept that as the answer. And something else about manifesting generators, because they have a motor connected to their throat, they may actually physically move towards something that they want and physically recoil from something that they don't want. So in a child's case, you could give them two options and they would like lean into the red hat versus the blue hat.
Okay. Aren't our bodies just so interesting?
It's so fascinating.
Yeah. Kathy, this has been super fun and so interesting. And I've learned a bunch of stuff. I know that the listeners will learn a bunch too. So I've got one more question for you. Tell me about your favorite hummus, your favorite way to eat hummus, maybe a fun hummus story, whatever you've got.
I love hummus. Hummus is one of my favorite snacks, and it literally is the snack that got me through this whole food plant-based eating, because it's your protein, it's your fats, like it has everything in it, and you can eat it on crackers, you can eat it on veggies, you can have it in your fridge. But I want to share one of my favorite ways to eat it, because it's so easy and it's so helpful for anybody that might be listening that needs a quick and easy meal. So grab a tortilla, spread your favorite hummus. I just make a plain hummus, but I do love, there's a brand, I can't remember the name of the brand, but we get it in South Florida when we're in South Florida, and it is oil free because we're whole food plant-based, so we don't eat oil. But there's so many other hummuses out there. Like you can pick your favorite hummus. So pick your favorite hummus. I smear a plain hummus on my tortilla. And then I add all the rainbow veggies. I add my red tomatoes, my orange carrots, and I go as far as my yellow bell pepper. Yep, I'll even look for the yellow bell pepper. Like I want all the colors.
Yeah.
I'll get sprouts because they're kind of yellow but kind of green, and then maybe some spinach, and then I love to add roasted or steamed beets. And so the roasted and steamed beets give it like this good earthiness, and then a quick drizzle of balsamic vinegar, wrap it up, and you've got a rainbow veggie hummus wrap. Actually a recipe in the 30-minute Whole-Food Plant-Based Cookbook. We've taken that wrap to Rocky Mountain National Park. We've taken it to other national parks. We've taken it on road trips. I mean, it is the go-to recipe for using hummus in a fun and easy way.
So good. I would even add some purple cabbage to that.
Oh yeah, purple cabbage would be perfect. Yes, that would be perfect. You could, and if you like fruit, you could add blueberries if you really want to get all the colors.
That's true. It might seem weird, but it would be delicious.
I think so too. I might have to try that next time.
Yeah, me too. When I do it, I'll send you a photo.
Yes, tag me on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. Kathy, thank you so, so much for this. I can't wait to get this out and for people to hear it.
Thank you so much for having me, Kimberly. This has been so much fun, and to be honest, I love the name of your podcast. Like, I'm here. I'm bringing the hummus. Let's do this. And I just really appreciate your time and this conversation.
Thank you. Welcome back. Kathy packed a lot of inspiration into this hour-long conversation. Next time I'm feeling uninspired in my average kitchen, I will remember that Kathy is making chef's kiss dishes in her RV. I also appreciated the reminder to listen to our inner voice and make sure we're finding ways to honor what we need and want out of our lives. To connect with Kathy, visit her website, VegInspired.com. Follow her on Facebook and Instagram at VegInspired. Join her Facebook group and connect with her on LinkedIn. Links to all of the ways to get in touch with Kathy and where to buy her 3 cookbooks can be found in the show notes. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating and leave a review. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. Be sure to share these episodes with your friends. If you're finding something good here, they will too. If you're a vegan or know a vegan who would be a great fit for the podcast, follow the Be a Guest link in the show notes. Fill out the quiz and I'll be in touch. Get on my mailing list and grab 3 super fun and easy recipes as a thank you. Don't forget, if you love the podcast and would enjoy a shout out or connecting with me on a monthly or quarterly basis, check out the show notes for the link. If you're a vegan business who would like to sponsor episodes of Did You Bring the Hummus, I'd love to chat. Find my contact details in the show notes. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Did You Bring the Hummus, and visit my website, didyouBringTheHummus.com, for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. Finally, I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? DM me on Instagram or send me an email at info@didyouBringTheHummus.com. Thanks for listening.